again.
Jerry is a great guy.
There goes your Christmas present.
He's a big competitor. Whatever he does, he wants to do his best.
He was a fun guy to have as a dad. He liked to do lots of outdoor activities with us. The only thing he ever couldn't do was swim. So I'd love to, and I tried to teach him, and he would do everything right and just sink.
He's one of those fellows who, when he walks into a room, even though he's been retired from the industry for 15 years or so, everybody pays attention. Let me put it this way, I've never met an enemy of Jerry Maier'.
My father and mother taught me, do your share of the work, also struggle and emerge, the philosophy of Notre Dame. You know, you're not going to get out more than you put in.
He was from a family of 8 children. They started farming in Crono, Saskatchewan. Life was tough as it was on the prairies in the 30s.
It didn't seem like work. It just the way things were, and you did it, and you kind of enjoyed it, actually. If you didn't, it made the work harder. In that era, there was not a lot of money. In hindsight, it's incredible how happy we were. As my mother would tell me, without an education, your future is restricted.
She recognized Notre Dame had the faith that she wanted, but also the academics that she saw he was capable of. And tuition, at least on several occasions, was paid by a side of beef from my grandmother's cattle.
At least on one occasion, my dad brought a half a hog, but also sacks of potatoes and turnips, things like that. I stayed in what we called them shacks. They were sort of a refined boxcars, only a lot smaller, but ours was air conditioned. Air came in one side and out the other, so.
A lot of my dad's stories there's always a sort of contest of wills. Who would be the first to get up and to put the wood on the fire and get the fire going in the morning because it'd be so cold.
Notre Dame was not for soft young men. It was where you became a man and, you wore a newspaper around your feet and boots to try and get your frozen feet to the next hockey rink where your reputation was on the line.
I've been turning out some wonderful men, far greater men than I am.
Père wasn't your everyday priest. And he smoked and he might have had the occasional whiskey, but he was about youth. He was about educating them and making sure they were ready for the world as men.
Almost every day, either after lunch or after dinner at night, he would get up and talk. And he would talk about things that kids from the prairies hadn't heard about before. Global events, national events, provincial events, having to do with customs and humanity.
He has such respect and admiration for Père. He was able to generate this idea of what was possible in your future, what was possible with education, and what were the expectations of you as a man.
From my time at Notre Dame and from listening to Père, I knew that there was more out there that I needed to satisfy me intellectually. So I took my first 2 years at the University of Manitoba mining. It seemed to me that working in the oil fields paid a little better than mining, and so I thought, well, I'll switch from mining engineering to University of Alberta and petroleum engineering. I did get a job out of a Duke in a yard of General Petroleum's. I knew how to work, so they put me on a drilling rig within about a week. So that's how I got into the oil business.
He was happiest building his companies, building things up and making things better.
When Warren Buffett's asked, what are the 3 things that you need to be a chief executive? His 3 elements. First of all, you need to understand the business. Number 2, you need a lot of energy. And number 3, you have to be honest.
Moving the head office from Toronto to Calgary was the most difficult thing. Not one of my senior executives supported it.
It was a tough decision. It was not a popular one inside TransCanada. I admired his guts to do it.
Jerry's decision to do that was really part of making Calgary the capital of Canada's energy industry, which set us up to be the engine of Canada's economic prosperity for most of the past 2 or 3 decades.
It was very difficult, and I had not a lot, but 2 death threats and things like that. And however, we pulled it off, and frankly, I think it was excellent for not only Trans-Canada Pipelines, but also Calgary and the producers in Western Canada, and for the nation.
While he was in these lofty positions, he kept engaged with the college, and then he succeeded to being chancellor of the college. During his chancellorship, it was a struggle and emerge experience, and Jerry persevered and led.
Education has always been so important for my dad.
Jerry Maier, knowing his own struggle, set about to provide bursaries in many educational institutions, to provide financial support and mentorship for kids to be lifted up.
I am proud of him. He has touched a lot of people.
This man who is already retired approached us and said, "Mr. Maier, I used to work for you a long time ago." He said, "Because of you, my 4 children were able to go to universities. Because of you, my mortgage was paid. I want to thank you now because I really see that clearly how much you have done for us." And I think that touched really Jerry's heart, so is mine. I guess I get goosebumps when I say that.
I guess I'd like to be remembered as one that is thoughtful of fellow man and anxious to support the disadvantaged. When I say disadvantaged, of course, I'm used to dealing with shareholders. And I don't feel like all of them were disadvantaged, but I wanted to help them anyway.
Pear's looking in on this evening, likely ashes falling off his cigarettes onto his shirt. But rest assured, his shirt buttons will be busting with pride.